All right, welcome. This is the Natural Law and Regenerative Economies series. This is part 9. We're going to talk about the law of magnetism today. It's also known as the law of attraction. What we're going to be discussing is, how we attract what we are being. Hemant and I were talking before we started this recording about, kind of about how money flows and how, how the system is kind of set up to where the money kind of flows and is consolidated to, a very small amount of people, who benefit most from that. What we're going to be discussing tonight is how to really start to practically change that system from the inside out. And it starts with not trying to convince others or trying to push yourself into a world, that is competitive, because you watching and everybody who is viewing this, you have a natural place in this world. You have a natural place in the emerging system. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we're going to talk about how to really be there for the people who are in your world, and how to create a time banking system where the money flows a little bit more evenly. So I'm going to get into a little bit more about that later. But I do want to say again, if you are a member of the Karmic Margin Call Project Time Bank, once again, please log all of the hours that you are spending watching this and watching all of the Regenerative Economy series. You can log it in as a service you are providing under workshops, presentations, and classes. So that is going to help build up your time asset. And in our next conversation in a couple of days, I'm going to be talking about how to regulate that, how to actually be able to reassign the value of an hour or the value of your time. So before I introduce who is present tonight, I just want to give a shout out to Randy Hayden and the Easier Ways community. So all of these conversations we are sharing with other members of that community, and we're inviting you that if anything that you hear resonates with you, please feel free to reach out to me, reach out to anyone who is participating in these conversations, and if something resonates, we can have a living library conversation about that and log the time bank in hours. If something is still confusing or doesn't make sense, that's welcome that as well too. This is really about holding the space so that we can all see eye to eye. We can all relate to each other. So before I introduce myself, let's talk to who's in the room here. Christina, I'm going to start with you tonight. Please just tell us what's alive in your world, and for anyone who might be watching this series for the first time and be getting to know you for the first time, what would you like us to know about you today?
Hi, Mike. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I like magnetism is one of my favorite subjects. I'm a healer for the healers. I do a bunch of stuff. I love learning and discussion and these like higher level conversations and the safe spaces, all sorts of good stuff. I'm just excited to be here and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Christina. Why don't we go to Hemant next? Hemant, why don't you introduce yourself and just whatever you would like us to know about you at this moment, please feel free to share.
Yeah, can you hear me, Mike?
I sure can, loud and clear.
Yeah, at this moment, I've been going through a different facet of life,
Mhm.
and it's been a bit weird, right? I'm just facing my loneliness and trying to figure it out. Why am why am I behaving in a way that hurting others
Mm.
uh, through my words? Because I can sense that I'm hurting others in a way that I don't want to, but I'm unconsciously doing that.
Mm.
So I've been figuring out, and meanwhile, I'm also figuring why I'm doing in the first place, why I'm being lonely in the first place, because
Mm.
I'm not. contributing to the world anything usefully.
Mm, mm,
And I've been watching uh, entrepreneurs like Alex Armosi and Sam Owens.
mhm,
The thing they keep on iterating is solve a real world problem.
mhm, mhm,
Then only I came to just now before enrolling this Zoom, I just watched the session and I realized, okay, that might be the reason I'm not solving and helping people
mhm,
really out there. I'm just sh- just shitting myself with many thoughts that
mhm,
coming to my mind, thinking that is a brilliant idea, but I'm not executing in the real world.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Yes, I hear you. And what's coming up for me is that as we were speaking a couple of weeks ago, there's that those ideas that are coming up. We kind of call that scouting and pioneering, where it's it's still an idea, and trying to find people to help implement that in the real world is very challenging. And yeah, well, let's unpack that tonight, Hemant. Thank you, and thank you for offering that. And I would like to challenge that just your being here and just your expressing the desire to be able to to make an impact in the real world. That is worth something, and that you're here and that you're showing up. We're going to find something here tonight, and I'm honestly, I'm really honored and I'm really excited that you are here tonight, because I had one idea of how this conversation was going to go, but since we're missing a few people, I think there's something here we can unpack that will really lend itself to to our message tonight. So thank you for expressing that, and thank you for being real. Thank you for being real and being
Thank you for
authentic.
accepting me.
Yes, absolutely. Charles, let's go to you.
Okay. I'm interested in all these natural laws, and I think the last one I was on was the cause and effect, and I thought I wanted to, they all kind of seem to intertwine with each other, all the different laws, and so I was, I'm, I'm, I'm always curious about the magnetism and how it's so close to cause and effect to
Mm,
me, because it's like sometimes you attract things into your life, or it feels like you're attracting them into your life, and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing that I'm attracting that. um so so I'm interested in learning more about it, and learning about how to attract what I do want,
mm,
because a lot of times, people, I pray, and I have a higher power and all that, and I realize that you don't always have your prayers answered, but I know people that say about, oh, you have to watch your thoughts, they become your words and this and that and the other thing, and I'm like, my thoughts were exactly opposite of what I just got. And I'm like, okay, this is not where I wanted to be. This is not how I wanted this to be. This is not how my thoughts were around it. So what was the energy around it that I wasn't aware of, I guess, that I'm trying to think about. So I'm hoping the magnetism in these conversations shine some light onto that, and what we can all do differently, I guess, um, to create a better space, to create a, a space of maybe reciprocity, or kind of feeling like your your emotion with your energy and with the people around you, and not so much conflicting things. So that's where I'm
yeah,
at.
yeah. Great. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Charles. So yeah, so I'll introduce tonight's topic, the law of magnetism, as this is the first of four conversations that we're going to have in December about starting to implement how to change the financial system. And the financial system is really just a flow of energy. Right now, the flow of energy is, like Hemant was saying before we started the recording, it's flowing up the power structure, and it's being consolidated and centralized and privatized, where to go back to that metaphor of kairotic flow, everybody's inventing these wonderful technologically advanced watering cans. We have this wonderful piping system, but it hasn't rained. It hasn't rained in a long, long time. So we're in a drought. So what we're going to be discussing here in the next four conversations is how to make it rain, just how to make it rain and open up. Honestly, it really does feel like opening up the floodgates. And the way this is going to be contained, and the way we're going to be able to harness this energy, is how we treat each other now. How we're able to create containers where we can start to negotiate the conscious agreements, the conscious contracts between each other here in the commons, what we call the commons, the people who are not necessarily really benefiting from hierarchy. So this entire series so far has been really focused on appreciation conversation, possibility conversations, and we're going to start to talk a little bit about invitation now. So when this entire series is done, it's going to be about 20 hours that people can really start to delve into and understand natural law and regenerative economies. And those of us here who are present for these opening conversations, we're going to be in a position where we're going to invite others, to have these appreciation conversations with us, to have these possibility conversations with us, so that we can start to change the value of time. So I'm calling tonight Law of Magnetism. It's very commonly known as Law of Attraction. I'm going to talk a little bit about why I'm not calling that tonight, because I feel like Law of Attraction has kind of been co-opted by privatized interests, proprietary interests, in that the message seems to be, if you just keep focusing on what you want, you're going to get it. And you can't have negative thoughts, and you can't be real, and you can't do all of this. And honestly, in my opinion, I think it's creating schizophrenic crack-ups, being in that kind of an energy. And when I listen to people in business, and I listen to these proprietary interests talk about the law of attraction, they really place it up there as like the most important natural law. But law of attraction is really a derivative of law of vibration, which is what Christina Charles and I had talked about a few weeks ago. And when we kind of put law of attraction on a pedestal, it kind of puts in the shadow, puts in the background the law of divine oneness, which is we're all connected. Everybody truly does have value. Everybody is a divine spark. And when we categorize, or when we place people in hierarchies, whether it be financial hierarchies or political hierarchies, we're really kind of distorting the law of divine oneness, because we're all that divine spark, and creating that illusion of separateness, creating that illusion that we are less than all that is. That's what I feel creates a lot of competition. It creates a lot of distortions. It creates conflict. So we're going to talk today about some of those power structures that are in place. And this is going to be a little more of a higher stakes conversation. It might be a little bit uncomfortable. And that is my invitation to all of you tonight. If Ray and Jared join us as well too, they've been, I consider them experts, although there's no expert or authority here, but I consider them very knowledgeable in understanding. I'm going to be completely blunt and just say it. They're very knowledgeable on white supremacy culture and patriarchy, how that kind of mentality, that kind of hierarchical mentality, is creating the illusion of separateness. And I personally would like to talk about that head on. So let's go around the room again and we'll do a second check-in. And I just want to ask everybody, what is your impression about law of attraction or law of magnetism? What is your experience with it? What is it? What comes up for you when you hear about this, which I think of as this very commercialized concept of law of attraction? But what comes up for you when you hear that, when you think of that? Whoever would like to speak, you go right into it.
I hadn't put the two together until you actually mentioned it earlier. When I think of magnetism, I think of frequencies and how everything holds a certain vibration. And that's the whole idea behind magnetizing yourself. So I guess so the law of it, yeah, and that's like I find that a buzzword, like The Secret and all that. And at a certain point of your healing, that's what they do tell you. We are manifesting things wilder than our greatest imagination. So that is the key. But the work has to be done before that for it to be done successfully, I guess. Or
Mhm,
I don't know. That's not even a good like, but yeah. Mm.
mhm.
So that's cool. I think there's different ways to look at it. I guess it's just easier for me. Um, because everything is frequency, so everything has a vibration, and yeah, I saw cause and effect like more because that's what it is. But they all go beautifully together, and like when you understand vibration, like vibration is like the bridge in between like spirit and matter because it's vibration that we can't see and then it goes. That was my first thoughts
Yeah,
on
yeah, no,
on them too.
yeah,
um
yeah. I'm going to piggyback on that for a moment, Tina, as well too, because like
Awesome.
there's the vibration and matter. Um, and I'm going to refer to a previous conversation when we were speaking in law of rhythm and the kairotic flow. Pioneer and Scout are very much in that gas air element where ideas are floating around, but they haven't been pulled down or grounded into reality yet. Then there's the cultivator that we see often in the business world. They're building stuff. They're very optimistic. They're very they're very much expansive, and they're going out into the world, and yeah, that's kind of like the liquid. Now we're creating liquid capital. On the other side of the kairotic flow, there's the curator. They're also liquid, but what they're doing is they're breaking down the solid and bringing it back into air form. And then you have your regulators and your stewards that are dealing in the dense energy. A lot of our institutions, a lot of our organizations are really deep in the stewarding process, where things are so heavily regulated that it's hard to move. It really feels constricted. So to pass that energy to the curator, it's still, we got a lot of dense feelings. There's still a lot of anger. There's still a lot of fear. There's still a lot of, there's still a lot of sadness and grieving. So yeah, so what we're in the process of doing here in this series is starting to get underneath those feelings and start to break it up again so that it can flow more. So yeah, so the vibrate between the vibration and the matter right now, I feel like at least in my world, I'll speak for myself, there's a lot of dense matter, that those really deep feelings like you expressed, Hemant, about the anger and all of that. We're starting to break that up a little bit so that the energy can flow more. So that's what's alive for me in what you had just offered there, Christina. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. That's cool.
Charles or Hemant? Yes.
What was the question again?
Just what? Yeah. What are your impressions? What comes up for you when you hear about law of attraction or law of magnetism? What are your impressions? You kind of started going into that in your introduction, Charles, but what's alive for you at this moment?
I'm yeah, I'm somehow when Tina was talking, I was getting like a sense of the magnetism of, so somehow we're maybe connecting with an energy of something that we're maybe not really aware of in ourselves, and that we're connecting with that energy in someone else that we don't really like, but it's helping to bring out that energy that we don't want to see in ourselves. So it's kind of like I guess I would say a secondary kind of energy where it wasn't what you were anticipating, but it's uh it's an invitation maybe to bring out that piece that you're maybe hesitant on or fearful of, or kind of thinking, yeah, I really don't want to look at this too much. So that's what came for me.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. And again, that's getting in the middle of that integration of those uncomfortable feelings to start to break it up so that it can flow again. I know just from some of our experiences that we're having, in organizations and different organizations, that I think that that's what's kind of coming up for us now is being able to hold space for the breaking apart so that the energy can flow more equitably to everyone.
Yeah. And I know for me, I tend to go with I either go with anger or I just shut down. I
Mhm.
I have it not so much anymore, but it used to be I was the black or the white, not a whole lot in the middle, but I'm learning more and more and living more and more in the middle. And I think that part of breaking things up is so fearful. Um, but it's also blocking the energy from the true magnetism of what you're really trying to attract.
Mhm. Very good. Very good. Hemant, are you in a position that you can reflect on and and tell us what's alive for you at this moment?
Yeah, I've been moving here and there to make sure my place is settled and I'm settled for this conversation.
Good, good, good. Can do you mind my asking, Hemant, because you had mentioned at the top of this call about experiencing these feelings of anger and wanting to, and what I'm hearing is also a desire to want to make a difference in quote unquote real world problems. Can you speak a little bit
Mhm.
more about what is alive for you in your world? Because I think I'd like to do an exercise, do an activity with that energy. But I'd like to, yeah, I'd like to hear what's alive in your world now as you're reflecting on these feelings.
Yeah, the law of magnetism. First time I heard this, I remember my mentor words. Uh, she is a high ticket seller, coach, and she done an excellent job in teaching me. It's not even job, right? I'm really a broke person, but my mentor treated me in a way no one treat me in such a kind and way. But from the space of reciprocity, I can sense I'm not uh, literally I'm hurting them.
Mm, mm, mm,
But that mentor taught me this thing about magnetism. We are always attracting and repelling at the same time,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
We are doing and being the both thing at the same time.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep. That's
By
polarity. Law of polarity. Yep. Mhm.
by being a magnet itself, we are creating a separation, right? Illusion of separation.
Mm,
That's what that came to me. the moment you mentioned about magnet.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I'm hearing is that there's always that dance of attraction and repelling. So again, that's law of polarity. And what comes up often in material and content about law of attraction is the frequencies of the emotions, of the feelings. And I heard it recently stated that law of magnetism or law of attraction is not really about getting what you want. It's about who is in your space, or what is what are you being? Who are you being? And that is what's bringing in the people and the circumstances that is reflecting what you are being. I mean, I can say in my world that as I've been integrating a lot of and that's the work I do in the mental health world is about processing deep sadness, deep anger, deep fear. I realize that I'm attracting, and I want to be in the middle of I want to be in the middle of conflict, because it's something that's helping integrate the wholeness of being. And I'm almost getting comfortable with it. I'm not there yet, but I'm almost getting comfortable with it. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's where you get back to like David Hawking's power versus force, the Esther Hicks material, or the Abraham Hicks material of law of attraction. There's these hierarchy of emotions, and I don't like to think of them as a hierarchy, because to me, if it's all oneness, if it's all part of the whole, it's just expressions of the whole. And I definitely see especially in the professional world, that there's this tendency to push those denser emotions like fear, anger, and sadness into the shadow. And oh my goodness, and when you put those feelings in the shadow, they burn hot. They burn hot, and that's where there's this friction and this cataclysmic change that is erupting. And that's something where my invitation, as we are starting to create living library culture and create conversation culture, is to take another step closer towards integrating those feelings. Um, yeah, I think before I go into the piece that I had planned here tonight, I'd like to do an activity in authenticity. And I'd like to ask first, before we do this round, I'd like to ask Christina, Charles, and Hemant, of the five primary feelings. And the five primary feelings are mad, sad, glad, fear, and shame. What feeling, what feeling have you been primarily dealing with? And it can be more than one. More than one. So I'll start this one off with I've been grieving a lot. I've been grieving a lot. In my world, there are people who are stepping away and kind of directing a lot of, I guess we could call it, negativity at me. So I think I'm feeling more grief than shame, but I'm grieving over the past. I'm grieving over the loss of the past, with people stepping away from the intense conversations, from the more intense feelings. So I think that's where I'm at. I'm at grief at the moment. I'm not angry. I don't, and there's joy underneath that. I can sense the bubbling up of like a clearing away, which is creating joy. But I think where I'm at is mostly sadness, grief that I'm kind of integrating. So I'll pass it on to Charles, Tina, or Hemant. What feeling is coming up for you at this moment?
I would say for me, I'm feeling I'm going between three different ones: sadness, mad, and glad.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I just feel like things that are going on in my life that I'm glad for people that I have in my life that I have some stability with
Mhm.
that are there. And I'm glad for myself and my connection to my higher power. I'm also mad about um, situations that I've been in around, dealing with doctors and
Mhm.
things like that, people who seem like they are supposed to know more than what you know about your body. And um, I don't feel like I don't get treated the way I feel like I deserve.
Mhm.
And it makes me mad and it makes me sad.
Mhm.
I was actually able to cry a lot about it,
Mhm.
and get past the anger piece. Um, and I'm feeling sadness and madness around um, things that are going on in another part of my life where people are dropping out and not, it's not turning out or not going along as I had anticipated or as I hoped. Um, and so I kind of feel sad and some anger around that.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, so I'm hearing the convergence of those three feelings of the madness, the mad, the anger, the sadness, and the joy, the gladness.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Christina, what is the underlying feeling for you at the moment?
Like today. It was, can you do the five again? Was joy the only
Sure.
positive one?
Mad. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. We
Go
tell
ahead.
these stories.
Go
We
ahead.
tell their
Okay.
stories that they're negative, but yeah, there's gladness, glad, mad, sad, fear, and shame.
Glad, mad. I've been having really highs and very lows lately. Over the past 2 days, I've been cycling between mad and sad
Hmm. Hmm.
with my random ground yourself. What's important? Joy.
Hmm.
um,
Yeah. Can madness and sadness or anger and sadness be important?
oh, they're all important.
Hmm.
Are they necessary? It depends
Mm.
where we're at, and um, yeah, I really try to keep to my own stuff, and
Hmm.
so I'm working on. I'm working on like giving, receiving, integrating, being a part of. Um, yeah. So I mean, society, life, feeling. That, like you said, there's just a lot of stuff. And I guess it's what we do with it is what's important, is what I decided over. Because yeah, I'm not really triggered much, truthfully.
Hmm.
And it's, you know what, it's behind passions, and that's a good thing. So they're all good. Was that in there? And that's not a good word either, good or bad, but they're all beneficial. And beneficial in their own ways, in their own time.
Hmm.
Yeah, everything's beautiful. Like anger is the easiest one of the easiest emotions for us to express. I've noticed as a society, as I sat down and was meditation and mindfulness and pause, it's easy for like I did all this my emotional work by putting love and fear into two categories and then
Mm.
pushing them down from there. um
Mm.
if it was here, there was a lesson and there was integrated and it was trauma and it needed something, and like there it was there, but so and then we needed to integrate that and work on that. but it's never like when you're mad, you're sad, or you're hurt, or you're scared, or that's it. Like it's that I think that's our defense. Like I don't want to call it. It's like our defense thing.
Mhm.
Like our
Mhm.
like emotion.
Hmm.
That hides a whole bunch of other ones. That like once we get to those emotions, that's how where the healing comes, and that's where it's really quite cool. And that's how you find, wow, we're all one. We have loads of different experiences on every one of our journeys, but all of those experiences hold the same feelings and vibrate like vibrations. And so in that we're the same. Like it does like we felt the same way. Like it doesn't it could be, it's everybody's life experiences differently, and that's why we all like react to things differently, but the core emotion and feeling and yeah, frequency behind it's the same. It helps me a lot to just get past anger. That's why it's really so when I get it these days, there's definitely something to question about it and something to look at. Like for me, I'm like, are you what do you do? Like, do you like, because I don't like, I don't know. I don't like, you just have to find your why. Why is this happening to
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
To like, why is my experience that I'm having like happen?
Yeah.
It's all great. And we're all like constantly learning. Like the stuff I thought I knew so well a year ago, it's the basis is still there, but it's definitely blossomed or changed or just refined almost, I guess it would be a better word.
Yeah. Yeah. What I'm hearing is kind of like bringing out, because in the center of the part of the brain that processes desire and anger, it's almost like that why, finding your why. There's law of cause and effect right there. That's what brings us back into the curiosity and where things start to become more collaborative and less competitive, where the feelings are starting to become integrated. So that's what I'm hearing out of that.
I've always been a why person. I've
Yeah.
always been a why person when I was very small. My dad told me that. It's like why? So I mean